The older I get, the more I learn about the world, the more I realize that community and friends, family are by far the most important thing you can have in your life. Good friends, stay close to your family, and be involved in your community and worry about those things. Everyone's so wrapped up right now in politics, and I was guilty of it for a long time. And it was just like this team mentality of my side versus your side. And the more I learned about all that and the more I started paying attention to politics, it's all fake. I got a good buddy of mine that he's super nihilistic and super black pilled on everything, very similar to me now. And it's all fake. It's all for show. We were talking back and forth this morning about a few things, and it seems like no matter what side you're on, if you're on the right or if you're on the left, they just keep feeding you just enough information or just enough wins to keep you engaged and to prevent you from rebelling. And it's like a yo-yo or a seesaw. It just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You get a couple of small wins, they get a couple of small wins, and it just keeps going back and forth. And the whole thing's a joke. And I don't really want to talk about politics on this channel. And I'm not going to start now. But I am going to say, quit wasting your time and energy with politics, because neither side ever wins. Like I said, you get these small little victories and you think your side's winning. But the things that really should matter to you is community. They apparently Trump had defunded FEMA, and everyone was all up in arms about the floods that happened up in Kerrville. And they're like, this is what you get, red Texas. There's no funding for FEMA, blah, 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 blah. Well, they didn't need FEMA. The community came together. People came from all over the state of Texas to help out. They were turning volunteers away because so many people were volunteering. There's a couple of other YouTube channels. They have like a tactical shop or something like that, selling, tactical gear or whatever. They were taking donations in. They were saying that every day Amazon, 4 or 5 Amazon trucks full of supplies would show up every day. From every corner of Texas, there was people showing up to volunteer, donating money, donating resources, food and water. HEB, donated a ton of food and resources. And that's what really prompted me to make this video, is like, that's what matters, is your community matters. You need to stay close to people in your community. This was something that was totally foreign to me, living in Southern California. Everybody just keeps their head down and worries about themselves. Like, I didn't know the person that worked at the gas station, but all the ladies that work at the gas station up here, all the people, I should say, mostly older ladies. But, I see them all the time. I go in there and get gas, go in there and get snacks, whatever. I see these people almost every day. And it's just, people need to work more on developing a stronger community and stop worrying about politics and what's this politician going to do for me or that politician's going to do. They're not going to do anything. and they never do. They always let us down. I can't think, there's very few people, I would say, that could be like, man, I'm really happy with X politician, because they always let you down, no matter what side you're on. So, you know, I mean, maybe local politics is more important. You know, your mayor, you know, like we live in a small community in a, you know, small little town. So having a good mayor up here is more important than having a, you know, the president of the United States, honestly. Like I said, I know you guys think you're getting wins, but it's all to keep you distracted. It's all fake. Worry about your family. Worry about your relationships with your friends. You know, how many of you people out there, you know, answer this in the comments. How many people of you out there have a 3 a.m. friend? Someone you can call at 3 a.m. and say, hey, I got arrested. I need you to come down to the jail right now and bail me out. Who's going to answer that phone call? Who's going to show up and, you know, front, you know, $2,000 to get you out of jail from a, you know, whatever it is, a DUI? You got pulled over, you were at the restaurant having a drink, and you got pulled over on your way home and they put you in jail. Now you need someone to come bail you out. Not many people have that friend, you know? Not many people are close to their families. You know, my sister just had her third baby last night, middle of the night. So today, technically today. She has 3 kids total. I said that already. And honestly, they still live in California, and I haven't even got to meet either one of my nieces or nephews. And those kinds of things are starting to bother me. You know, we were really close as a family growing up. You know, Italian household. Every Sunday, we used to do cold cut sandwiches. They would go to the deli and get a bunch of deli meat and cheeses, and the whole family would get together. Aunts, uncles, everyone would come over every Sunday. And over the years, you know, people moved away, or just, you know, life gets in the way, and those traditions start to change. You know, every Christmas Eve, we did a huge Christmas Eve dinner. And, you know, we moved away first. The last couple years, they did it without us. And then my cousin and her family moved out of California, and then they did it without them. And then now my mom moved. So that whole tradition's dead. And that breaks my heart. And it just, of course, the AC unit would kick on in the middle of this. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to vent my frustration. Like I said, I was talking to my buddy this morning about it, and we're both pretty black-pilled on this whole thing, and it's all fake. It's all a joke. No politician's gonna save you. If you think, you know, voting this way or that way is gonna change things, it's not. Worry about, you know, taking care of your family. Keep your head down, and, you know, strive towards your goals, you know, of whatever it is, starting a family, buying a house. You know, how many people are like, I'm not going to start a family till, you know, this changes or that changes. There's never going to be a perfect time. I'll tell you that right now. I've had my first kid at 21 years old. Definitely wasn't a good time, but we made it work. My older son's doing great, you know. Had my, you know, second child in my 30s. Wasn't a good time then. I was still living at my parents' house. You know, I'm still recovering from addiction. You know, if it wasn't for a close community and a close family, I would have never gotten sober on my own. You know, when I finally reached out for help to get sober, that brick wall in my house doesn't look very good, does it? When I first reached out for help to get sober, all my friends stepped up and helped my wife close my shop, take all my equipment out of my shop and put it in storage. You know, we're talking about air compressors and welders and, you know, steel and all these, you know, vehicles that I had in the shop that I was working on. You know, all those customers understood, you know, my wife had to refund thousands and thousands of dollars that I had taken in on deposits and then spent on drugs, you know. And all those people were all super understanding and super supportive. They worked with my wife on, you know, getting their deposits back and picking their vehicles that were, you know, cut up and not, you know, running vehicles. You know, I was a fabricator, so a lot of these vehicles weren't in, you know, driving conditions, and they all understood. And it's just, you know, I had a good customer base, you know, good people. I had good friends to help my wife out, and I had great family to help me get sober. And these are the things that really matter, and you really need to focus on those things if you want to succeed. Because I'm telling you right now, if you just waste all your time worrying about winning this election or that election or getting this person in office and hoping they're going to do the right thing, they're going to let you down every time. But if you develop a good group of people around you that won't let you down, that's what the most important thing is. And that's something I'm learning. The older I get, the more I learn about politics, and the more I just learn about people in general. You know, small communities, you know, if you can get out of whatever big town or city you're in, try to find a small community where everybody knows each other, you know, and everyone works together in crisis. You know, up in Kerrville, everybody stepped up to help everybody. And I mean, outside of all the lives lost, things got taken care of, and it's still continuing to getting taken care of. There's still people up there volunteer, you know, big construction companies that are showing up with equipment, helping people clean up the mess, and you know, recover bodies or whatever they're still doing up there. You know, it was a lot of devastation, and people are stepping up, and that's what you need to worry about. You definitely don't need to worry about politics. It's all fake. It's all fake. That's about all I got for this video.